There are no such things as limits or obstacles, only opportunities. Step into the greatest version of yourself because what you do matters. Shift your narrative. You're listening to Opportunity Makers, where entrepreneurs come to take their purpose-driven business to the next level. Here's your host, Cyndi Padilla.
Hey there, Opportunity Makers. Welcome to a new year and a new you. And of course, if you're listening to this at any point in time beyond the first week of January, then just welcome. Welcome and glad you're here. Cyndi Padilla, so glad to be part of your journey. And, again, we're in the middle of a couple of episodes we've been doing so much around amazing interviews with amazing humans and business owners and forward thinkers, industry giants and game changers. And it's come to our attention that people want to hear a little bit more of us speaking to you, problem solving, getting to know more about who we are, what we do, and what our thoughts and perspectives are, not just what all of our interviews and guests are thinking about. So we will be mixing much more of that in, but I wanted to share thoughts. And so if you haven't listened to the last couple of episodes, please do go jump into those, because sharing some thoughts as we're wrapping up the end of year 2023, as we're talking, moving into 2024. And so if you are on these as they're dropping, then you're with us, and happy new year, happy 2024. Excited as the ball has dropped, and now we are moving towards great new things and great new expectations, and what powerful opportunities, what incredible visions do you have for 2024? And this episode that you're going to jump into is me and my wife, Cyndi. If you've only been exposed to us through this Opportunity Makers podcast, then you have not had a chance to meet my wife. And she is my partner in all things, and she is the engine that drives this company. I'm the visionary and the strategist, and she is the one that moves things forward. She's great at getting team to perform, getting people to think differently, and getting things moving forward and done. So that's where that's actually how this conversation is too. So we jump on here. We're just talking a little bit about what are we trying to accomplish? How are we helping companies become viable? How are we helping businesses earn more revenue? What are the things we should be thinking about as you're moving into 2024 and setting the stage for some wildly exponential opportunities and growth? Because that's all you should be thinking about. You can go on offense and you can go on defense in business and in life, in any circumstance. And when you go on defense, it's typically designed to be short-lived. Think about if you have money, if you have sand in your hand, right? And a pile of dirt, you pick up a handful of sand and you hold on to it and you squeeze it. It's only going to last so long. At some point, it's going to dissipate. You can't hold it in there forever, and you can't get any more. An open hand allows more to come in. Same thing with money, right? If I have $1 in my hand, a $100 bill in my hand, I squeeze it. That $100 bill, you can't grab it, but I can't do anything with it. If I'm squeezing it, I can't spend it. I can't invest it. I can't save it. I can't put it towards a cause. I just hold on to it so I don't lose it. But that's not the most effective way to grow and expand. And so you can be moving on defense and protecting. And you do. Going on defense is things like not spending stupidly, maybe not incurring more debt than necessary, right? Those things are smart. But then going on offense is finding the opportunities that exist in a land of problems and challenges and obstacles that need to be overcome. And that's what we talk about. That's what we're about on this podcast. That's why we bring the interviews on this podcast that we do with people who've been extremely successful, many who have exited companies, gone public, creating portfolio companies, or just seeing and seizing the opportunities in the changing landscape around. And so this is just me getting to know you a little bit better and talking a little bit about how, what are we doing in 2024, and what are we expecting with our clients and our partners and our colleagues. So I hope you enjoy the episode. Have a good time with it, and I hope you start seeing where you are viable and where you're not in your business. That's the key, and that's the main takeaway on what we're going to talk about here. So live a 10x life, have a fabulous 2024, 10xing who you are, what you're accomplishing, what you're creating, and who you're serving. A 10x impact, 10x revenue, have a 10x life. And we'll see you on the next episode. Enjoy this one. as it's amazing. There's this crazy thing that goes on because as a sales expert, I often just completely forget that some things that come easy to me are not as things that has come easy to everyone else. And I know we all get caught up in that. Usually the thing you do so well is the thing that's just that has you have a certain level of unconscious competence to it. And so you just assume it's easy because it's easy for you, that it's easy for other people. And I just get sometimes stunned. I'm like, don't people just know what I know? I mean, like, what's so special about what I know? Especially it's sales. It's just sales, but that's like saying, well, it's just oxygen. I mean, without it, you're going to die. So it's by definition, it becomes necessary to everyone. Sales is the oxygen for your business, which means it's the oxygen for your growth, which means it's the oxygen for your movement, for you creating your empire, for you changing lives, for you changing the world, for you doing all the things that you need to do. And so sales can mean, I'll be honest, I downplay it so much. I don't want to be known as a sales guru. It's like, what's exciting about that? But I understand that it's like sales is noble. Sales is service. Sales is powerful. It's important. It is vital and extremely necessary to everybody's process, no matter what it is you're doing in your life. You are selling all day long to everybody. And there are so many things that we do naturally. You are inept. And this is part of the reason why I don't take it as this. I often just kind of shed and shine away from, why is this so special what we do versus what most people do? It's just that most people don't know they do it, right? You sell all day, every day. Everyone, that's what you do. That's how you got your spouse to marry you. That's how you get your kids to eat their broccoli before their dessert. That's how you get them to do their homework before they go play outside. That's how you get people to go watch a movie you thought was amazing. It's how you get everybody to go to Chinese instead of Mexican for dinner. Whatever it is, it's all sales. It's always about sales. And um, I just want to make sure that you are consciously aware of what you're doing. So the difference is that we just want you to be able to do it on purpose. We want you to understand that you're creating an environment, an opportunity for change and growth. Because at the end of the day, that's really where the sale happens. It's you're moving somebody from a place of, here's where I want to go, here's where I am, and there's a gap in between, and I need to be able to navigate that journey now. And many times we just think of sales as the transaction of, I'm talking to you and I'm offering you an opportunity for something new, something better, a change, and you're buying it. And yes, technically that's what's going on. But there's everything else in the meantime. What is the customer journey? What are all the things, what are all the problems that are going to be addressed or solved along the way? Who are all the people you've spoken to? We just met with a client who's converting at an incredibly high rate in her business. And 90% on a regular basis. And last week was 100%. And there's so many things that has to be involved. Is it because they're great at sales? Sure, that's a part of it. But it's when you are really supremely clear about who you serve and you know the problems that they have. You're clearly identifying the problem. They know that you know their problems because you understand them in ways that they don't even understand themselves at times. And you're literally just moving them on a journey where the natural byproduct, the natural conclusion to the story you're telling is that they say, yes, this is for me, and I get it. Then that's what sales should be. You don't have to convince and hammer people. It should be a natural conversation for clarity, right? A commitment conversation, somebody who's an ally showing up saying, I got you. This is what's going on. And there's so many pieces on that journey. There's systems, processes, foundations, structure, things that make it easy and simple to replicate the process. How many times have you done something in the sales game? How many times have you enrolled a client or filled a room, done something amazing, but then you don't know why? You couldn't replicate it. You couldn't do it again because it wasn't documented. It wasn't systematized. It wasn't processed. You don't have a training process or technology or anything in place to be able to build that so that it is replicated. The whole goal is every time you're doing something well, you want to be able to do it again on purpose and create the environment for that thing to happen. And every time you do something poorly, you want to create the environment for optimization. So that thing is either eliminated or up leveled and not done the same way. But you have to make sure, there's also so many moving parts. There's a lot of things that have to happen in order for a sale to happen to occur. And that's part of what we have these conversations for. Again, we've been blessed to generate multiple 9 figures worth of revenue for our clients, run thousands of sales conversations, average 25,000 sales conversations here. So we just see things that most people just will never see. We say more things in a year than most people will ever see in their entire lives in their business. And so we just want to share as much of that quality data and input and insights and strategies as we possibly can. So that's what these conversations are about, is sharing.
So let's talk about 10x versus 2x and how that is really going to be necessary, like that thought process, that ability to move through 2024 with that strategy in your sales process, in your business, in your growth business.
Right. It's your growth journey. The whole focus, our company is focusing on 10x right now for several reasons. Number one, I tend to be a very big thinker and a big visionary strategist. So I'm always like, what's possible? Not what can I do right now? And Cyndi likes to be, well, what's the next step, right? How do we make the next step effective and predictable so that we can actually do this thing well and do it consistently? So we're a great combination in that realm. 10x, the reason that I resonate so heavily with 10x and why I will sell that story to you in that case to you is, first and foremost, 10x requires growth and change. So you can 2x your business, you can 2x your health, you can 2x your relationships simply by working harder. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's noble. There's quality in that. But it literally doesn't require you to change. It just requires you to do more of what you're doing. Maybe do it better, right? But mostly be doing more. And I want to make sure that I'm becoming the person that creates the life and business and family and support and revenue and income and legacy that can be sustained, that can outlive me, etc. And that's 10x. It requires me to be something different. In order to 10x, you can't just work 10 times harder. It's literally not possible. I don't know anybody who is working so little and so lazily that they can literally 10x how hard they're working, right? So that's the first piece, and it's the perspective. The second part is we are now at a place in time in history as we are approaching the end of 2023 where 10xing your life, your business, your health, and is literally easier to do now than it's ever in the history of the world, with technology, with solutions, with a connected world, with everything you need and want to be able to get access to, every person you need to be able to bring into your world to help make your vision a reality, and the things you want to do to be able to come to light is literally a click away. You are literally 1 to 2 introductions away from somebody who knows somebody who can get you the things that you need. That has never happened in the history of the world before. Technology, so there are new apps happening every single day that you can get access to that cost nothing most of the time just to get started, and things that may cost hundreds or thousands instead of tens of thousands like they used to, and things that we used to take years or months to be able to put together. So we are in this perfect storm where everything can happen exactly as you want it. And so it's darn near to say that anything is possible. Okay, you can have anything you want. You just can't have everything you want. So it does require a level of focus, level of shift and change. And we shared with our membership on our membership call yesterday, talking about, as an example, 2x is, the easiest example is Henry Ford and designing the car, and more specifically designing the assembly line and the way of thinking exponential. But what most people would do is I want a faster horse, or maybe I want more horses. And the perspective was like, well, let's shift altogether and let's take the power that horses can give and let's get exponential with that. How do we shift it all together? That was 10x move. right? Creating a car that captured the power of horses versus just trying to get more horses or get horses to be faster. And we have a conversation that I'm having with somebody right now who's a prospect who is in another country, right? He's in Norway, and he sells health supplements, specifically fish oil, and 5% of his market is in the United States, and he wants to expand that. He wants to increase. He's like, how do I get more U.S. customers? Because people here are focused on health supplements in this good market. So he's thinking, how do I market to more of my end user clients in America to sell them fish oils? Well, the conversation started talking. It was like, well, there's one way to do it is you could just market more and market to more people here. Or what if we look at altogether something different and say, well, what other business models are already serving and supporting these markets? And how can we get into a distribution channel? What if we can hook them up with Walgreens or Costco, right? Or some big supply chain in the United States that already has a built-in market and is already serving. Now, he's not just going to go 2x. He's not just going to increase a bit and make more sales. He's going to literally change the trajectory of his business because that can outproduce everything else that he is doing by leaps and bounds, and all of a sudden change the model of his business, change the trajectory of his family tree, right? It's 10x thinking. It says, how do I do this differently? That requires him to be different. It requires the company to be different. It requires a different thought process, but it's extremely doable. And it isn't just about working harder, right? It's not just about working harder. So those are, that's what happens in the 10x environment. It all centers around you first and foremost, believing that it is possible to 10x. It is possible to have the outcome. And so even if you don't say, okay, 10x means I'm going to do 10 times more, 10 times greater impact than what I'm doing right now. But what if you just don't stay, okay, from where I am? How about we just start from zero and say, what is possible? What do I actually want to create? What's the business and the life that I want to create? And what will be necessary to make that happen? And who do I need to become to attract those kind of people? To attract the clients who would want to buy that? Who do I want to, because a lot of times we don't have the how. Of course, we don't have the how because we've never done that before. So we don't actually know how it works. So we're embracing a perspective of becoming something new, which then attracts some new people and new opportunities and perspectives into our world. So when you start thinking differently, you start making different choices that starts moving you in that direction, and then it starts to materialize. It's not sitting around and then mapping out chapter and verse of what it's supposed to look like because you actually don't know.
You don't know.
You just, right? But you need
Yeah,
to
I mean, 10x actually simplifies. There's only so many things that are going to move the needle, excuse me, to a 10x vision, a 10x future. 2x keeps things complicated and muddled because you're just doing more of the same, and you might add a little of this and a little of that and explore this option, but there's nothing that's significantly different that's going to give you a viable and a significant outcome that's different than what you have already. So let's talk about viable. I think as we enter 2024, it's going to be it could be a make or break year for a lot of businesses, for a lot of people in general. We are coming out of 4 years of tumultuous change, division, distraction, upheavals, wars, economics, and that's going to continue as we go into 2024. So what is necessary to thrive and build a viable company and business in 2024?
Yeah, well, I'm going to jump into that. I want to make sure that we are also, if there's any questions that are in here. So if you have a question, type it in the chat so we can address those for you as well. We do have some other questions that have been in discussion that I'll share in just a minute. But viability is, viability is something that everybody needs to be thinking about. Because quite honestly, if you just look at yourself, you ask yourself a question right now and say, okay, what kind of a business am I? Am I actually a business? I mean, this is a real thing. If you're a solo, if you have a brick and mortar business and, a storefront and people are coming to, well, there's a little bit more shape to that and definition. But we serve a lot of people in the online world and a lot of solopreneurs, they're entrepreneurs. And there are some things that really, some truths here that we have to come to grips with. Number one, just because I'm an entrepreneur doesn't make me a visionary. An entrepreneur is somebody who just wants to solve a problem. Many times, an entrepreneur is somebody who just wants to not work for somebody else, right? So you may be working for yourself and creating a job, and that's what the majority of people do, is we just create a job that we work for ourselves. That doesn't mean we're visionary. Many times it means the opposite. It means we're just we're just a step-by-step operator. We're just doing the things we know that need to get done so that we can be fiduciarily responsible, be able to pay the bills, be able to take care of business, pay our taxes and all of that. So it's being crystal clear about what is the focus of what you're trying to do. Why does this matter? Are you just putting out a shingle, as they say, and saying, hey, come on in and we'll do some business together, which most businesses become very transactional in that nature, which is also, it's the people who have a vision, people who have something bigger that they're striving for, that then leverages the business as a means to reach and attain those goals, those missions, those desires. Those are the people that win. And those are the people that consistently climb the mountain, right? Climb the ladder, climb whatever metaphor you want to use. Those are the people that are reaching the higher levels of success and the things that they want to do. And we've been very blessed on that journey. We've also hit some some walls on that journey. And most of the time, when we hit those walls, the things that cost us is usually directly related to one of the two things that we see, as we've been, again, on the journey to work with a lot of millionaires and billionaires, been very blessed. It's always centered around, we forget why we're doing what we're doing, number one. So motivation and innovation and things slip. The other piece is we're not running the business very effectively. So we're becoming not viable. And many times the business was never never designed to generate revenue. It was never designed to grow in the first place. And that means you're not viable. You have a product. You'd be amazed at how many businesses are nothing more than a product or a service, but it's not a business. There's a client who needs something. There's a solution provider who has a solution, and somewhere in the between we meet, and voila, we have something. Our garage door broke yesterday. I was pushing the button, coming in, and then open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. I couldn't hear it. Cyndi was inside the house. All she heard was a big flop, a big bang. I didn't hear that from inside the car on the street. But garage door was down, could not be opened manually because it was the spring and the cables were broken. Guy came over. Guy come over. Literally 20 minutes, he fixes the thing. I don't know if he has a business. I know he's a guy who fixes things. I'm assuming he has a business. I have absolutely no idea. He could just be a handyman doing stuff, and not that doesn't mean he's not in business, and it doesn't mean he's not valuable. But that doesn't make a business, right? And that's a perfect example, though, of what most people do. Oh, there's a problem, I solve it. Great. How do you come across those clients? How do you serve and deliver? how do you attract how do you have a right inventory to be able to do the things that you need to do? What is your process for serving these clients and making sure that they're in your world for a long time? What makes you valuable, right? Viable is a business model that we are really leaning into as an acronym, right? Viable is valuable business, being extremely valuable to the people that you serve. It's not just about providing a solution. It's understanding the value that your solution must be valuable to them. It must be ready. It must be ready to act on, must be ready to move. It must be something that can be built upon. It must be something that is always in need, always in demand. The more it's in demand, the more supply that there will be for it, right? So you want to make sure that the demand is high. And many times you have to have a plan that generates demand. And then seeks and finds where are the greatest intersections of pain and solution that you can be hanging out on, right? You don't want to be hanging out on a corner where there's no pain and solution and nothing ever happens. We need to put yourself in the middle of the activity. You need to put yourself where people are most likely to find you, right? So these things is about having a viable business plan and a strategy. What are you thinking on that, Cyndi?
No, I wanted you just to expand on that. I believe that 2024 is going to require a level of preparation and foresight and lifetime value for customers and clients that has not been necessary in the past, right? Our bread and butter is we have a high retention rate on clients. They stay with us, over 2 years. We're working to get that to 3+ years. And it's because we have a lifetime journey. We have a customer journey that we've curated, and we continue to sell to buyers because the people who love you the most, who have already invested in you, who trust you, who have benefited from working with you, guess what? They'll work with you more. If you provide another valuable solution that adds to the viability of their business and their long-term growth, they're going to say yes. So viability, valuable, and that lifetime journey, like they're all just interwoven. And most coaches, consultants, small business owners stay on the forefront. Who's my next customer? Who's my next lead? Who's my next appointment? Who's my next client? Versus really building out a lifetime journey and a buyer's journey for your company.
Totally. And that's, again, we've had many conversations with clients around this, and this is the challenge. We're not here to get you to want anything that you don't want. That's not my mission. It's to get you to embrace the things that we know you want, but you're so buried in what you're doing day to day that you forget it or you can't see it. And, we have a couple of clients we've talked to in the last couple of days that are doing big things, doing great things, and they're poised for some really strong growth. And they want to go bigger, but they're so focused on what they're doing right now that they can't see what the greater opportunity is. And it's not just about money. Money needs to be there. I'm never going to apologize for making money. And I am not that person that says it's not about the money, because the moment you say that, we all know it is about the money. My mission is that you're making so much money, you don't ever have to talk about the money. You just never have to apologize. The moment you have to say it's not about the money, you're already off purpose, off mission, off track. You should never have to apologize for it. You just don't need to make it your priority, seeking the money. But here's the mission for us on this. So we want to make sure you're making more buyers from the same number of leads and more sales from the same number of buyers. That's the game we're playing. And that's what having a viable business does for you. So viable, vision, right? And value proposition. This is not, and that's actually, let's fine tune that. It's about being valuable. Value is what you impart. Value is defined by me. Valuable is defined by you. You decide if I'm valuable to you. Okay. And the valuable is identity, which you have to become something different to be able to step into something new. You literally have to transform. You have to become a bigger, better, bolder version of you. If you plan on leaving a legacy that's going to outlive you, if you plan on having the kind of purpose, passion, profit, and impact in the world that is bigger than what you can create on your own with your own single small footprint. Right. It's interesting because we in our neighborhood here, we drive, it's a nice area that we live in. There's a 4-way stop sign just around the corner. And there's a gentleman there. We call him Patriot Jeff. He comes out there, puts his flag, and he spends pockets of time every day out there just waving at people and cheering on people. And, his mission is to make sure everybody understands that they own their little piece of America. And his spot, he's got this little spot. He got a little red wagon. He pulls his stuff. He sits there with his chair. He has his something to drink, and he just waves at people, and people honk at him and wave at him. And I talk to him sometimes. And his whole thing was, he's like, I just want everybody to know that they have a piece of America. He goes, this is mine. This little piece of America is mine right here. And, he knows where he stands. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's got a vision, right? And his identity, he has become a patriot. He has become an inspiration, even though in his own little spot, he's impacting people every day because they're carrying that message as they come and go. And he's honking at people, waving. They're all waving at him. And, he's impacting from where he is. He doesn't have a website. He doesn't have social media, right? But he's got an identity. He knows who he is. And when you know who you are, then you can easily emanate. Everything else radiates from there. Viable, VIABLE, right? So valuable, identity, and A is about authority. How are you positioned? How are you showing up in the world? How do people know what you stand for? Do people know, oh yeah, that's them. That's the salespeople. That's the Jim and Cyndi in the room. Oh, that's the sales team people. That's what they do. They grow companies with sales teams. They help people win with sales teams, right? That's how we're known to the world. That's our authority positioning in the world. We help companies win with sales teams. And that encompasses all the things that help make sales teams great: systems, strategies, processes, great offers, lifetime journeys, right? Vision, and then a buyer journey, right? Buyer journey. What are you doing to ensure that people are moving effectively through your world and that they stay in your world as long as humanly possible? So that if somebody comes to you and says, I want you to solve my problem, here's my money, they're trusting you. And if you solve that problem, they trust you even more. Why on earth would you let them go to go somebody else? Because when you solve that problem, they now have a new problem to solve at a higher level. And having a great buyer journey is something that keeps people moving forward. So once we get sales systems, strategies, offers in place, well, guess what? Now people hire us to run their events. They hire us to strategize their events. They hire us to recruit salespeople or plug and play as sales teams and consistently generate revenue. They're constantly looking at us to elevate what they're offering, how they're building their community. We are growth strategy experts. So we build a lifetime journey that keeps people in our world till they're ready to fly on their own. And then we move to a consulting package. And then from there, we move to an advisory board position. And for some companies, we'll take an equity position and grow. So we build our own portfolio companies and networks of businesses, but it's all around serving and supporting clients, companies to be able to grow and make sales every day, making more sales from the same number of leads, making more sales from more buyers from the same number of leads, and more sales from the same number of buyers. Right? What do you stand for, and how do people know that when they come into your world? You're in our world right now. On this episode, this podcast here. Or listening to this, you may be the first time you hear, but guess what? You already know the buyer journey. You already know that there's an intention and a desire and a capability for you to move in our world for years. So even if you're here just to find out how to how to close a sale or how to something different, you should be sharing the vision and the mission and the buyer journey in always in every part of your sales process, right? So viable, VIABLE, right? Now leverage and scale is you got to be thinking about, how do I leverage? How do I replicate myself? How do I get more from the same effort? More outcome from the same effort? How do I get more revenue from the same number of opportunities? How do I get more people to replicate myself so I can do what I do in more effective means and more match, so I can serve more people, right? So you have to be thinking about these are the things that make you a viable business, okay? And exponential growth, exponential growth, which our primary driver is events. We focus on events. Every business on the planet, I have not met a business, seen a business in any vertical that cannot win and benefit from creating some sort of an event for the right people in your spot. No matter what business you're in, the ideal people who move your business forward as clients, as partners, as input professionals, criteria, whether it's executives or people sleeping on the street, there's always somebody who can benefit by being in a group in an intimate setting with you. Whether it's 3 people, 30 people, 300 people, or 30,000 people, there is an event waiting for you that will help exponentially grow your business and deliver more qualified booked appointments for you to be able to say, yes, I got you, and let's move you forward. Right? That's where you share this. Imagine this conversation we've been having for the last 20 minutes carried out over 3 days and broken down with insights, strategies, systems, thought processes, exercises, you with other people in this group. And all of a sudden now, as a community, we're starting to shift what we think, what we believe, start lining up. Everybody's starting to infuse what we think and what we believe and where we want to go. And all of a sudden we're creating a tribe, we're creating community, we're creating a movement. And whether it's a boardroom with a handful of executives or a stadium with tens of thousands of people, the same dynamic applies. So these are all the things that lead to becoming a viable business. What's a viable business? VIABLE, and that's what you want to be doing. That's what we are focusing on in ensuring that you are doing for yourself, so that you're not just selling a service. Even if your mission right now is just to sell a service and it's just a hobby, that's different. But if you're trying to actually build something that you will be able to walk away from at some point, then you got to start thinking about it now. And again, the opportunity today has never been better. And So there's ways to be able to work with us, many, and there's actually something I want to share right now, and just depending on the timing of you hearing this, but we're doing retreats. We have a retreat strategy that we support. We do quarterly retreats, and there's one coming up. If you're wherever you're listening to this, there's one coming up within the next quarter, where we are going to dive deep into helping you see what's possible for you in a 10x perspective, and getting you to a place where you can 10x what you see, what you want, what you desire, and how can you make it happen. And it's about you seeing yourself as the greatest version of you, so that you can express it clearly and powerfully to other people, so that they can see. One thing that people can do when they come to us, they know we're experts. They just decide then, do they buy into what we're selling and buy into who we are? But it's never from a lack of somebody believing we don't know what we do and how, right? And you want to be able to clearly articulate why it matters and what else you're going to do. And we help you do that. We have a VIP breakthrough retreat, a 10x breakthrough retreat coming up in a couple of weeks. So if you happen to be hearing this now, great. And if not, there's another retreat coming up soon if you're hearing this later. But talk to us about it, because it's about being intimate. It's about diving deep. It's about solving specific problems that are going to help you elevate who you are, see yourself differently, fine tune your message accordingly, start building your business towards viability, so that you can actually start moving and start doing the things that you were called to do, instead of chasing leads and sales every day. Because nobody that I know, not even myself as in a sales company, as a sales expert, I did not get in business to chase leads and sales every day. And I'm pretty sure you didn't either. So let's move you beyond that, so those things start happening predictably and consistently.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Opportunity Makers. Head on over to gaintheedgenow.com to connect with Jim and his team. And remember, there's no such thing as limits or obstacles, only opportunities.